Welcome to the Well Woman Show. Each episode is a transformational journey using mindfulness, feminism, leadership, and strategy to support you to thrive personally, generate wealth, and impact your community. And now, here's your host, feminist thought leader, London School of Economics grad, leadership consultant, and transformational coach, Giovanna Rossi.
Hello, Well Women. Welcome back, regular listeners, and welcome if you're new to the show. We're here to talk today about getting our needs met. So I want to just start by giving a little bit of a explanation of why we even need to address this. And so if you're a regular on the Well Woman Show, you probably have heard me talk about how, we're socialized as women to believe and think, and do and behave in certain ways. And as women, getting our needs met has been something that society has taught us is secondary, and maybe not even secondary. Maybe it's, lower down on the list. And so we're taught that first and foremost, we should be concerned with nurturing others, whether that's raising children, taking care of parents, or just simply playing the nurturer role at work or in the community or with friends. And the second thing we're taught is that we should be concerned with how we look, and that our value is very much wrapped up in how we look and making sure that we're pleasing to others, particularly men. So if we're women and we're carrying other identities based on race, ability, or sexual orientation, then the requirement that we put our needs on the back burner multiplies. So it's not surprising that so many of us have ongoing unmet needs, which show up as thoughts and feelings, which ultimately guide our actions and our outcomes in life, right? So there's a really complex intersection of our internal resilience based on years of learned behaviors and thought patterns with our external circumstances, which are the results of decades and centuries of systemic injustices and breakdowns, basically. So we can use the Well Woman Life framework to get our needs met. And I'm going to walk you through using the framework to do this. So I want to talk briefly about immediate needs versus long-term values. So what we're talking about today is getting our needs met now. So this is more of your immediate needs, your need for connection, your need for physical well-being, your need for honesty and play and peace and autonomy and meaning. These are more kind of immediate things that we need in our lives versus more kind of long-term values. So some of the things that we would call needs can also be values if they are sort of longer term or as the result of some major life shift, like a divorce or a death or a health issue. So just wanted to clarify that in terms of what we're talking about here today. We're talking about more of the immediate needs, like how to get your needs met now, like today, this week, not waiting. If one or more of your needs is off, it's likely that you're feeling, needy. So what does this mean for you right now? We're going to use the Well Woman Life framework to go through the 4 stages to identify and create a plan to get our needs met. So the first stage is awareness. And in this stage, it's all about creating awareness around your needs. So for some people, you know what your needs are right away. Other people, it's a little bit harder to identify. I know something's not right, but I'm not sure what I need. The first question I want to ask you, and make sure you have a pen and paper handy because you're going to want to do some journaling here. If you're on the treadmill or driving, you can listen. And then when you're at a place where you can do some writing, you can play this back and do the exercises. So the first thing is, what challenge are you having? So what is the challenge? What's going on? And just jot that down. Is it something related to work, something in your personal life, something at home, something with your kids or your parents? What's going on? What's the challenge? And you might have multiple challenges. And so I encourage you to brainstorm, jot them all down but pick one to work on today. So, number 2, what feelings came up for you this week or today related to the challenge that you've chosen to work on? And if this is going too fast and you need more time to write, just pause and do your writing and then come back and press play. So what feelings came up for you this week related to this challenge? And I'm using the Center for Nonviolent Communications resources for needs and feelings, and you can get a list of the feelings inventory at their website, and I'll put the link in the show notes. It'll be at wellwomanlife.com/207show. So the feelings inventory link will be there, as well as the needs inventory. So what feelings came up for you this week related to this challenge? And just jot those down. And then looking at those feelings, what are the needs underneath those feelings? What are the underlying needs related to those feelings? So remember, needs are more immediate, like what is happening right now, whereas values are more long-term, like a change with a life event or something like that. So again, you might already know what your needs are, so this might be super easy. You're jotting them down. You might actually need some help identifying what the needs are. So I would encourage you to go to the needs inventory, which is also going to be linked on the show notes. So check that out at wellwomanlife.com/207show. So once you've had some time to write these down, what are the needs beneath those feelings? Take some time to really brainstorm about that and write those down. And then I want to ask you the 4th question here, which is, what are the negative thoughts related to that need? What are the negative thoughts related to that need? And if you are new to this work, this could all seem a little bit too much all at once. I encourage you to just follow along, or you can go back to some earlier episodes and learn more about the Well Woman Life framework. There's also we dive deep into all of this stuff in the Well Woman Academy, which you can check out at wellwomanlife.com/academy. And we are we're a membership-based coaching, group coaching community that really dives deep into all of these questions and these exercises, and we have a lot of fun with it. So check that out if you're following along, but really needing more feedback or have more questions. We'll be right back. I'm so thankful for support from Natural Awakenings Magazine in New Mexico, a monthly green, healthy lifestyle publication, and for support from High Desert Yoga, promoting optimum physical health, clarity of mind, and spiritual inspiration for all. You're invited to join me for a brand new monthly group experience over in the Well Woman Academy. This is a monthly group that includes access to the full 6-week course based on feminism, mindfulness, and the Well Woman Life framework. It includes weekly groups coaching sessions with me, as well as office hours and a private Facebook group to share and grow. Don't get me wrong, this is hard work, but with these tools, you will easily find the time to do the course, get the coaching, and reach your goals monthly. If you find yourself worrying about whether you'll ever make it in the thing you're pursuing, waking up in the middle of the night with anxiety, lacking the energy you need to get everything done, stuck in some aspect of leading your team, procrastinating on moving forward with projects and tasks, or in a leadership role but second guessing yourself constantly, I'd love to introduce you to the Well Woman Academy. It's for smart, high-achieving women changing the world who want to overcome anxiety, burnout, perfectionism, and insecurity. The result? You get to live your Well Woman life, a life of joy, ease, and abundance, even when things are tough all around you. Visit wellwomanlife.com/academy to learn more. We're back on the Well Woman Show. So what are the negative thoughts related to the needs that you've been jotting down? So by now you should have worked through this first stage, which is awareness. All of these questions, there's no right or wrong answer. Don't overthink it. Just do some brainstorming and journaling based on these questions that I'm asking you. the point is to really uncover and create awareness around your needs, so that you can start making a plan for how to get your needs met. Because when we get our needs met, we are much happier and much more productive, and things are much more in flow. So that's what we're doing here today. So let's go on to the second stage of the Well Woman framework, which is intuition or inner knowledge. And here, I want you to imagine the needs that you identified. Imagine those being met. Imagine, close your eyes if you're in a place where you can do that, and just imagine a time where those needs are being met. They are happening. Your underlying need for stability is happening. Your underlying need for integrity is being met. Your underlying need for growth and learning and inspiration and companionship and empathy and inclusion and whatever the things are that you wrote down are happening. So when you have that image in your head, I want you to answer the question, what is a positive thought about those needs if those needs were happening? What is a positive thought about those needs when those needs are happening? They're not needs anymore, they're happening. So if you have a need for belonging, what is a positive thought about feeling like you belong? So I want you to go through. This is kind of intense, hard work. So take your time, go through one by one, write it down. And what are the steps you need to take to be in that moment of those needs being met? And this leads us into the third stage, which is aligned action. So here we're going to create an action plan based on what are the steps you need to take to make that image that you came up with, that positive thought, a reality for yourself. The fact that you're able to imagine it and think it and articulate it means that you're able to create it, right? What are the steps you need to take? So creating an aligned action plan means that it's not just any old action plan thought out of your brain. It's actually aligned with your inner knowing, your inner knowledge about your needs and about your feelings. And that's why we go through those two previous stages before we get to the action plan. A lot of us like to jump right into action, and that actually does a disservice to us because we can't create an action plan that's really going to work for us until we tap into that inner knowledge. So your action plan should be doable, meaning it's not, like make $1 million tomorrow or lose 30 pounds next week, right? It's not the dream. It's the doable, like what can I do today and next week in order to get there? You start with the big picture result, what you want to make happen, and then you break it into chunks that you can actually put in a calendar and put a deadline on. So that was my next thing that I want to talk about in this aligned action stage is deadlines. So having your action plan be doable, creating multiple small steps to get there, and then putting a deadline on these things really helps with getting them done. And the last thing in aligned action is accountability. So how are you going to hold yourself accountable for doing these things? Do you have someone you can talk to about it? Do you need to come and join us over in the academy, or are you already in our Facebook group? You can get some accountability there too. So how are you going to hold yourself accountable to do those actions? And then the last stage is integration. And this is like, how does the action plan work with my life? Like, how do I integrate all of this that I need to do into my current busy life? And what do I need to say no to in order to make room for this new plan? What do I need to say no to make room for these new actions that I want to take that are aligned with my inner knowing? The other thing is that you might have to have some courageous conversations around setting boundaries so that you can create the time and space and energy to do these actions, right? To get your needs met. Let's face it, you are the only person, you're the person that's going to care the most about getting your needs met. So waiting around for your partner or your kids or your parents or whoever, your friends, to validate or give you permission to have your needs met, that is not going, that hasn't worked so far. So I don't recommend that. I think that we need to take the initiative and take a little bit of control over how we show up in life and what we create for ourselves. And that starts with getting our needs met, right? So setting boundaries in a loving way is really important. So if you absolutely need 30 minutes a day to do your exercises, then setting boundaries with the people that you're caring for and that you're living with in a loving way can be really powerful. And once you do it and you see it working, it's so much easier to go back to it and say, I'm going to do that again, and I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to do it again. And so having those courageous conversations, they're sometimes difficult, but that's why we call them courageous conversations, because sometimes it's some hard stuff that you have to address with setting these boundaries. Okay, so those are the 4 steps, walking through the Well Woman framework to get your needs met now. And I encourage you to head over to wellwomanlife.com/207show to take a look at, we're going to outline the 4 steps there and also link to the resources, the needs inventory and the feelings inventory to help you along with this. I'd love to hear from you how this goes. So definitely we'll start a thread in the free Facebook group at wellwomanlife.com/Facebook. But if you want to dig into this and do some group coaching and ask me questions directly, I have office hours in the Well Woman Academy. So definitely check that out too. And have a wonderful week getting your needs met. And I'll talk to you next week. That's it for our show today. Remember, if you need support to live your Well Woman life, head over to wellwomanlife.com/Facebook to join our community. As a reminder, we are on NPR every week, so be sure to tune in at npr.org/podcasts and search for The Well Woman Show. If you enjoyed today's show, please take a moment and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave a review. This helps raise visibility, which is super helpful when it comes to producing the show every week. For feedback, comments, or just to let me know you were listening, find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Well Woman Life. I'm Giovanna Rossi for The Well Woman Show. Until next time, have a super powerful week.